Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Good Leader Podcast. I'm not as fired up as I was on the last episode, so this will be a more traditional intro. But we're here. We got a full deck today. Jess is getting tired, but she's ready to go. Jess, are you ready? Do you have your inspiration? We're starting a new segment today. We're going to try it out.
You're starting with me.
Okay, I'll come back around to you, but I'm starting with you just to say hi because I wanted to brag on you. Okay, I'm wearing Create Positive Change t-shirt. Are you responsible for this shirt?
Look at that camera, and you tell them how much you love that shirt.
I have had a somewhat quiet, contentious relationship with our t-shirts the last few years.
This is true.
It's true. I have.
Quiet except to me sometimes.
Well, it's a battle not worth fighting. I think it's good leadership.
It's not worth
I think
fighting.
my restraint is actually good leadership.
Yeah.
And let people do their job, back out. But I felt like it is an untapped area. It is an opportunity that is being missed. This shirt, I love it. And I want to brag on you because great job. I like the shirt, but it's not even just about my preference because sometimes Anj will admit or verify for me that I tend to be fair. I'm like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one. And then she said, I don't think you're the only one. Okay, thank you. That makes me feel better. I am getting compliments on this thing everywhere I go.
Oh, I do get compliments
all the time. Seriously, like
I
I'm
get
walking around
compliments all the time
and
on that.
everybody like my girls who are getting pickier by the moment. They're entering these teenage girl years where I'm like, okay, no clothes are good enough, and that's fine. I get it. But my girls were like, hey, is that a new shirt? And I'm like, yeah. And they were like, why didn't we get one of those? I was like, I don't know. I'm not in charge of dishing them out. I just,
If Jocelyn and Adelaide love them.
They do.
Love, yay.
Jen loves it too. She's like, wow, get me one of those. I was like, I'm not in charge. I'll try to find one.
Wow.
I'll go around.
Thanks so much for shouting me
Once
out.
you get into inventory and I got to get past Lindsay and Lindsay's crew with inventory, I'm like, man, it's not even worth it.
You can order them online, you know?
I own and run this joint and I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, buy them online.
But seriously, I can buy it online, right?
ps.company/store. everybody.
ps.company/store. You want to get some good looking duds?
And
go there.
not just shirts, but also we sell all of
Pants?
Our team sells.
PS pants. Pantalones.
We sell facilitation resources, workbooks,
Really do.
books, all over.
We have really upped our
Bring it in.
game. So shout out to Jess, shout out to Kyle, shout out to anybody else I need to shout out on that stuff?
That guy over there.
Shout out to Lindsay.
That
shout
guy.
out to Limuela. Speaking of Lim, how you doing over there, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Tickling the ivories known as the soundboard. I like
I'm
it.
ready.
All right, good. You fired up?
I'm
the inspiration
so
zone is coming.
fired up.
All right, Anj, you did a great job last time. Thank you very much. We're not going to make you pull the entire weight of the podcast like you did last time, but really loved it. We're going to pick up where we left off. It was so inspirational that I liked what you said. Queen Brene giving us the 5 C's, those stairs, which, let's see if I can remember. Color, context, connective tissue, cost, consequence.
Yep.
You added
You
a
got it.
6th. What was your 6th?
Well, I said the competition would be a way to think about connective tissue.
Okay.
So it's kind of a...
Does it connect
it's
or compete?
parenthetical. Does it connect or compete?
Yep.
Yes, and I liked that. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it. And compared with that, I was thinking of that, and then just wanted to talk about vision in general. What is vision? Because Lim brought an anonymous, if you want to be a high-performing organization, hire more doers, not thinkers. Is that the gist? Did I get that right?
Yep.
And Anj took immediate. I could tell she didn't like it.
I took exception to that.
You
as well.
took exception quickly. You even called them Nazis, didn't you?
Well, no, I said that
You said, you bunch of Nazis!
No, I said that strategy would have been great for the Nazis. I didn't call him a
I saw
Nazi.
you say that.
I
Don't
don't
lie.
know. That's kind of like saying, why
You
didn't
said
call
it.
him one? But
He said it.
it's
didn't
kind of
he?
like, the thing that you're doing right now is really like a Nazi.
But you're not
I'm not
one.
gonna
But
call
I'm
you
not-
one.
I'm not
But you're
calling
not
you a
one.
Nazi. I'm just saying, you're looking like one, you're acting like one, you're thinking like one.
Yeah.
You Nazi. All right. So Lim took offense to it.
You Nazi.
But you were very nice about bringing it up in the podcast. You didn't even want to name this individual, which we won't. We're not here
we
to.
won't.
We're not here to throw mud.
Nope.
We're not mudslingers. We're t-shirt makers. Anj also took immediate offense. She didn't call him or her. I don't know if it's a male or female. Didn't say you Nazi. But I can immediately tell she was like, I don't know. That dog don't hunt.
Yeah.
Slow down here. Slow down here.
What's that statement from? That dog don't hunt?
Yeah.
I've not
Where
heard
is
that.
that from?
Jared has so many of these. What'd you say to me the one time? I've never had this before, but I had to ask him what it meant.
That one is a common
I
one.
was
I
like,
said,
what
we can't
does this
just. I said,
mean?
well, we can't just jump out of the frying pan and into the fire.
I've heard that one.
Yes.
And
okay,
Anj
but
was
you
like,
can
wait a
hear
minute.
things.
Hold on.
And in the context that we were talking, I was like, I said, I need you to explain that to me.
You've heard that.
So what should
Yes.
I not do?
You know that one.
I don't know. I don't know if I have.
Thank
I
you.
I blamed that one on North South. I did. I
Yeah,
thought, well,
I-
maybe it's just a Southern thing. But anyway, The point is, Anj didn't like it either. When I turn my head, you make fun of me every time?
No, Jess and I are just
I'm gonna
sharing back
start.
and forth. Thank you.
I'm going to have to start
We
with
are-
the pod like this. Keep
We
my eyes
are
on both of you.
connecting, okay?
Okay, that's good.
Can you back
Team.
off?
Anyway, so I wanted to, I had some thoughts then.
Okay.
Building off of so what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about vision, but really in the broad sense. Like last time we dived into the stair step from balcony to dance floor. Today it's more broad and just saying, well, what the heck is vision? Mm-hmm. It's one of those words that we use in leadership circles a lot. And you kind of know it when you see it sometimes, but if it's such a big deal and it's worth thinking about, so if it's worth considering, then we should actually consider it and say, well, what do we mean by vision? Because I'm to the place where I've gone round and round and round with it, and I think it might mean different things slightly. But today, I'm taking a totally different approach to it. And I want you all to give me feedback, think about it. It's one of these workshop episodes. But I've got a few phrases that I absolutely love. So I'm just going to ask right now, full value contract, treat me with kid gloves. Okay. If I say something, you're like, wow, that really was terrible. Don't call me a Nazi. Just let me know. Well, Jared, you might rethink that one. You might.
I'm going to delete that comment right now.
Maybe don't post that in a blog
Are
yet.
you welcoming feedback?
I am welcoming extremely constructive criticism today.
Oh, wow.
Emphasis on the constructive.
I would say that that's more intense than feedback.
Yeah, I was going to say, this
Really?
seems really intense.
Is it really?
Extremely constructive.
Well, I said extremely constructive, not extremely critical. Extremely constructive criticism. Okay, I'm inviting 90 and 99% positive feedback. That's what I want. Okay? I want you to say.
So if I absolutely need to say something.
If you absolutely hate it, I want you to say, you know what, Jared, that sounds pretty good, but you might want to think about it a little more.
Got it.
That's what I want.
I'm ready.
Yeah, that sounds good, but you might want to think about it a little more.
Yeah,
That's
you
if you
got it.
absolutely hate it. Anything in between? I'm looking for yes men today. I need some wins, okay? I need some wins today.
Win wall.
I've been hitting a lot of
True.
losses today. Speaking of hitting a lot of losses, I was looking for some inspiration. So we got a new segment. Podcast, we are stepping into a new season of podcasting. So for you loyal listeners out there, get ready. Because Jess Treat, she just gave me permission to just hit the gas. Full on accelerator.
I really did.
Well, she did. We did a post-production meeting a couple weeks ago, and I asked an honest question. I said, hey, what is the purpose of the podcast? Talk about vision. Wow. We're sitting there, and I basically asked, what is the vision for our podcast? Because I'm, quote unquote, the leader. I don't know. I don't feel like the leader of this podcast. Am I the leader? Who's the leader? What are we doing?
Your face is on the cover.
My face is on the cover, but sometimes that doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be a puppet throne up here. All right, so.
True.
Nazis.
Sure, it's a puppet now.
But all jokes aside, I did want us to clarify our vision because I don't want us to waste time. And if it's something, we're all spending time doing this, and I know that we're all busy, and I got plenty of other visions. So let's go back to Brene's stairs. I'm like, is this a connected tissue? That was really my question. I was like, I get the cost, and I think I'm understanding the cost consequence. I'm even understanding the color. Mm-hmm. But it was really the context and connective tissue that I'm like, is this really feeding our overall vision? Is it going where we want to go? So we had that really honest conversation. Truth be told, and talk about vision versus dance floor, man, sometimes it can be inspiring if you're a balcony person to go talk to the people on the dance floor because they're going to lead you. That's what happened in this. I stepped down from the proverbial balcony here, and I was like, oh, well, y'all are really more excited about this than I am, which really fires me up because I've actually been holding back. I want to push further. So Jess led that charge, and she said, no, lean into your personality, lean into what we're doing. So you know what my personality says? Unsegments. Last time I did 1990s music that made me feel old. Today we're doing inspiration that makes me feel better.
Yes.
So this is the inspiration zone. Here's what the inspiration zone is. There are very few rules. I just want to hear something that over the last couple of weeks, what has inspired you? It could be a song. It could have been one of my renditions. Could have been my Candle in the Wind. Maybe you heard that on the podcast and you're like, wow, Jared, that really brought a tear to my eye. You know, could have been. Could have been. Anj finally remembered that she knew who Puff Daddy was. So thank you, and that helped.
She remembered.
I needed it.
That was great.
I needed a, yeah.
Puff Daddy. Come on. Today, inspiration zone. I was trying to think of another word because I was really on the song kick, so I wanted to like tie it into danger zone. I was trying to come up with a good pair. Like, all right, it's time to take a ride into the inspiration zone. Doesn't work. Doesn't flow very well. Either
Hey,
way,
you're
like a
really
car
showing that
commercial.
personality.
either way, we're going there. I am. But also, my personality isn't all good ideas. That was a bad idea. I do like the inspiration zone. Jess, who do you want to go first? Inspiration zone. I have my answer. Lim's
I got an
ready.
answer.
Lim's got it. But you're in charge. You said, am I making you go first? I'm not. I'm letting you run the
I
show.
want Lim to go first.
Lim!
All right.
Inspire us.
I'm telling you, this might sound like a cop-out, but the weather the past couple of days has been
that's
inspiring.
good.
Honest to
Yeah,
goodness,
actually, I'm with you.
I honest to goodness thought you were going to say the Bible. When he said this might be a cop out, I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to Jesus you us on the very first one. This might be a cop out, but I was really reading Leviticus. And, the weight of the law.
Yeah.
I seriously would not be shocked if
So
that's what came
overwhelmed
out.
by
Yeah.
grace
Hey.
that I have to be inspired every time.
No, I'm telling you, last night
I really did.
I got my fire pit out, lit a fire, was just sitting. My goodness.
Wow, it's cold enough for a fire?
Oh yeah, it was like low 70s. I think.
Holy Moses.
It was good.
For context, for those listening, if you don't live in Oklahoma, we have been
100-degree weather.
struck
It's August.
by
It's
heat.
hot.
Yeah.
110.
I will say,
It's 110 every single day.
you're right, Lim.
And
I went
night
outside.
times is like 99 degrees. It's so 70 for us.
Oh, yeah.
If you're like in the north, my parents would die thinking about doing a bonfire in 70-degree weather. But if you're around these parts, or I mean, 70 degrees that's the coolest we felt in a long.
It was. I went
in
out
a
to do the
long
chores
time.
this morning about 6:30, and it was cool.
Oh,
And that was
yeah.
nice.
I've been waking
The
up.
mornings
and
are
having-
nice too.
The morning's been nice. Yeah, the
Mornings
weather-
have been nice.
I've been waking up having to put my slippers on. I'm like, yes, come on, sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
Pumpkin spice.
All right, who's next, Jess?
Anj, you
I
have
love
something?
it. I want to do just a limb unhinged pod one time. We just give a microphone. We're like, just go unfiltered stream of consciousness for about an hour, and I don't know where we would end up.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
It would. You
We would end up
go
in
all
Leviticus.
That's
over
awkward.
the board. All right, Andrea.
I can't top
What
sweater
inspired you?
weather.
Sweater weather.
Weather,
Sweater
weather,
weather.
That was good. It's sweater weather.
weather.
Isn't that from something?
I have
don't know
no
what it's
idea.
From your lips to my
No,
ears.
it's from something. I'll find it. Sweater weather.
What do you got, Anj? Inspire us.
I actually have been watching the Quarterback on Netflix.
Oh, is it good?
Oh,
I haven't
love
watched it yet.
But for those who knew me 10 years ago, they're just like, what is she talking about right now? But man, I've become a huge football fan, more than my husband. When we got married, I could have named the New York Giants as a football team. Like no other context for literally anything else. I know more now than I should. Like it's just not, it doesn't need to live in my brain, and for some reason it's just there. So I give that caveat to say, one of our, Kevin, he says to me now, like, man, I've really learned, like, if somebody tells you, like, that, man, this is the best book I've ever read, if you then find out they really don't read books, you shouldn't take the recommendation, very strong.
That is pretty savage.
But he was right. I was like, oh, that's actually
This is the
kind
best
of
book
true.
I've ever
He
read.
is
How
so
many
real
books you
for
read?
that.
How many books you read?
Yeah,
But he's kind of, if you're someone like Kevin where you're like, read a new book a week.
he reads three at the same time.
Yeah, he's wild. So I just put
Yeah,
threw him under
he's
the bus.
juggling.
But so I say that to say that, like, if you don't like football and you're not into
Okay.
that stuff, like, you're not gonna like it, I don't think. But I, without having football on right now, or the NFL really starting, have loved it. And it features Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and see, he's so bad I can't remember his name. Mariota. Man,
Yeah.
I have so many things to say about. Well, I do, but I don't. I'll save it.
Save
what
it.
I've been
Save it for the
inspired
future
by.
pod.
Yeah, what I've been inspired by is Patrick. So it's not anything I didn't know, but it was just a good reminder. He is going to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
really in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he, tore something in his ankle, sprained his ankle. Can't remember what it was. Do you remember them playing
Yes.
like this?
Oh, yeah.
And so he had basically had to play, really think like 3 games with that horrible ankle, and he played it with the same energy that he played every other game. And there was 3 different quarterbacks. Mariota was so hard for me to watch because you have people like Patrick Mahomes and even Kirk Cousins, like they'll show up, but they just like show up with this energy, like they're hyping him up before a game. They're even when he's talking, even when Patrick's just talking to the camera, he's just like got this like ownership energy. And Mariota's like, so then I had the ball, and sometimes you just gotta like throw it. So that's what I
I
did.
need to see the real.
I
I
threw
can't
it.
wait to watch the show now.
I need to see the comparison.
I do too. I'm actually more excited to see Mariota than Mahomes.
I threw it, and it's just what you got to do sometimes. So we just
All right.
we do that. I'm like, dude, own it. Like, you're a freaking NFL quarterback. Like, get your energy in the game here. And Patrick's like, so then I just told him, like, man, you got to catch this. You got to do this for me. Like, just the way they talk. I was like, Man, energy matters.
Energy matters. Remember that. Remember that.
Matters.
Also, Anj has not seen my pod notes. So just remember that, audience.
No, I haven't.
This was not scripted. I can't wait.
I really haven't.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait till I drop what I'm going to drop.
Everything is connected.
Power of the Holy Spirit. All right, what do you got?
You want me to go? I'll go.
Some
Or I can
connective
go.
tissue right there.
You're in charge.
I'll
You're
go.
in the
Connected
segment.
tissue.
I'll go and then you'll wrap it up.
Tissue.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay, so something that inspired me, and I hate that I'm shouting Jared out right now, but I just am, and I'm sorry.
Big
But
words
also,
of F guy.
It was really good stuff.
Wait a minute. I inspired you?
Yes.
Oh.
You.
All right, you two take notes.
He's
This is how
literally
you do this.
acting like we
You
didn't
two
talk
take
about
notes.
this earlier.
This is how you do this segment. Go ahead, Jess.
He's okay now.
This is why
shocked
you
and
got a
stunned.
bright future in front of you, kid. Go ahead.
Right. Okay, so I was just scrolling on my LinkedIn. Shout out to us on LinkedIn also. Paradigm Shift Leadership. Follow us. And I was just looking, and Jared is on vacation, and he posts a video. Okay. This really did inspire
This is a good
me
one.
because I needed to hear it. But he's grilling. He's videoing himself grilling, which I appreciated, by the way.
Very natural,
I
very
felt-
be realish of
I
you.
felt there.
Yeah,
I
this
was
might
there.
be real for the day.
And he was basically saying, you don't have to go somewhere to take a vacation or like take a break from work. And I have this thing in my head where I'm like, if I'm not going somewhere, then like I might as well work. So I just don't take breaks. And I'm realizing that that's not the healthiest thing.
Yep.
So
is good, Jess.
I'm happy. Me too. That's great.
and I commented on it, and I was like, wow, I really needed to hear this. And I felt like you might have thought I was being sarcastic because you responded with, wow, you should, because I know that your company works really well with that. But I was being so serious when like I just was saying that I needed that reassurance. And it's crazy that it was just me. I'm in your company, and it was useful to me, and I'm going on vacation next week. Moral of the story.
We
Well,
have
that's awesome.
we have
That's good to
unlimited
hear.
PTO
Where are
for
you
the
going?
listeners.
Yeah, well, I said I think your company's pretty open to that. was my response.
Yeah,
pretty
I was
much
being
take
so serious
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going on vacation.
Well, I'm glad that it
I'm not
inspired
really
you.
I'm not going. I'm gonna go home
Doesn't matter. Take a break.
for a day. Yeah.
I'm glad you did. I literally asked Lindsay a couple weeks ago, like, is Jess taking a time off anytime soon, or like even a celebration day? Like, she
Yeah,
like doing
she's doing
something
anything.
after
Yeah.
it was a long month in her world.
It just kind of.
Long
I think
couple
after cohorts got wrapped up, I was like, okay, now I can.
Yeah.
And then right before our retreat seemed like the perfect time for me. So
And then Jared's inspiration.
That's perfect. All right. So that's Inspiration Zone. Mine's going to be quick. It's on Disney Plus. It's called Flamin' Hot. You guys seen this movie?
Nope.
no.
Oh man, it's a drama. But it's based on a true story.
Okay.
Based on a true story of the guy who invented Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
I need to see this right now.
It's phenomenal.
Wow.
It's so good.
Jess is excited.
Eva Longoria
I'm fired
directed
up.
it. It's fun. It's funny. It's really good. It was a direct to Disney Plus movie. And I think it's been out like a month, 3 weeks. It's really good. Flamin' Hot, Disney Plus. Check it
I'm
out.
fired up.
You ever been more fired up in your
I've
life?
never been more fired up in my life.
That's what I like to hear. Flamin'
That's
Hot.
the
I
energy
recommend it. Check
that
it
I'm
out.
talking about.
Good
Flamin'
energy.
Hot. Fantastic. So today, we're going to continue this conversation about vision, because vision is not inspiration. If you notice, I think that often these words can just be thrown kind of together, like that a vision has to be inspiring. Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes your vision is so clear. Like, I've got a vision to clean up this kitchen over the next 20 minutes. That's a very clear vision. It can call people to action, and it can get the things you want. Is it inspiring?
Yeah.
I don't know, in the truest sense of the word, like it moved people to action. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like we think of this inspirational stuff in that vision. I think that's sometimes then people get lost in vision statements, and you can just make it more simple. You
Yeah.
can be clear, be direct. So this idea then also of vision, I think to Lim's not point, but to your reference in the last podcast, it's like vision is equated to thinking, or like a big dreamer, or that person is a visionary, and all those types of things. So what is vision in leadership? All right, Tony Robbins says this. He says, vision is one of the core leadership values. Great, no argument there. It's the dream and the direction for your company. It's what forms your company culture, guides your decisions, and helps you set and crush your goals. It's what inspires others to follow you, work hard, and make a difference. Okay, once again, I'm not disagreeing with much of that, but it's not incredibly formulaic. It's more like, okay, it's like he said, I do like that he said it's a dream and direction. So I'm going to get to that. I do like that. I also think it's purposeful that he puts both. It's not the dream. It's not the direction. So I started tinkering around with this. And this is the part where I want you can treat me with kid gloves. You can be like, that's terrible. Okay.
I'm
if
ready.
it is terrible, actually, you guys have inspired me. Between limbs, weather, and football season. Football season's upon us.
I know.
Football
I'm
coming up.
thrilled.
Sweater weather is better weather.
Sweater weather is better weather. Is that the quote? Did you find it?
No, it's just a different quote, but I'm going to use it.
Sweater weather.
Who are
better
you?
weather.
I mean, both were good. Jess had the best answer. Jess won this round of Inspiration Zone.
I bet she did.
Congratulations.
Shocker.
100 points. So I'm in a better mood now, so you can give me more honest and direct feedback. I can take it. But I was tinkering around with this idea of vision, and I was comparing it to ideas and dreams. What's the difference between dropping your microphone and picking it up and really listening, using it? Vision, ideas, and dreams. Because I've had this thought before, and I've used this when I'm talking to specifically young leaders that when asked, hey, if I want to improve in my leadership, what should I do? And my most honest answer is that it is this lifelong pursuit. If you really are trying to be the best leader that you can be, it's going to be seasonal. You're going to change. Even the type of leader that I am now is not the type of the leader that I was 20 years ago. So it's this constant evolution. So that's a very theoretical, probably correct, but also doesn't help me very much in the moment kind of answer.
Yeah.
And I hear those answers a lot. And I wanted to do a better job, especially for our staff. And when we're working with young people, when we have an earnest person saying, I want to be a better leader, right now, what do I need to do? And so from those questions and those types of questions, I came up with that you have to bring either vision, energy, or knowledge to a situation. And the more I think about it, the more I like the connection there, but I'm reframing it and rephrasing a little bit. And what I mean by that, and we've talked about it in the podcast before, but if you want to be a better leader, bring energy, bring a new energy. You were just talking about with Patrick Mahomes. If you want to be, don't be the person sitting down going well, hey, are we going to win today? I don't know, maybe. They're really good. And I'm kind of hurt. I'm tired. It is sweater weather, though.
Sweater weather.
Or it's the words with no energy.
It's the words
yeah,
with
we're
no
gonna
energy.
win this.
I'm fired up.
We're going to get it.
I've never been more fired up in my life. Those sorts of things. So energy matters. Energy matters in leadership. Doesn't mean that you have to be spastic. Sometimes that energy is just direct. I think of one time, some of the best energy that I brought, and this is not going to bring it down, but when I was on pastoral staff, and I would go to the hospital. And when you go to a good hospital, actually energy is a good thing to bring. Not the jumping up and down, rah, rah.
Sure.
But energy as in I'm moving towards somebody. I'm going to be present. I'm going to go give you a hug. I would see others visit the hospital. I'm like, well, you didn't even do anything. You showed up, but you didn't. You just kind of you were at the hospital, but the energy of hey, I'm present. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Even if I know I can't do anything in this situation, just being here and being hey, I'm here if you need anything. Boom. And you know what I'm saying? Or like that, or a hand on a shoulder.
Yeah.
Those sort of things. That's energy.
Appropriate energy.
It's appropriate energy. So energy is not just being spastic or rah rah.
Yep.
But it is. I am action oriented. I am moving towards it. That's why I didn't like the, leadership is thinking, not doing kind of thing. It's it's kind of both. Okay, so that's energy. Knowledge is actually do you know something? We're sitting around this table and we're going to do a podcast about Lainey. I should not be in charge.
That's correct.
I'm gonna throw the mic over to Jess Treat and be all right, let's do it. Or if we're going to talk about popular music in 2023, Jess is probably the best one to lead that charge. Can I contribute? Sure. I can tell you if I like it or not. I can give you my feedback, but I shouldn't lead it because I don't have that knowledge. Okay. So my new thought is vision. What is vision? What do we say with a visionary? Because it's not just big thinking. There are lots of people who have big ideas, big thinking, and they're doing diddly. It's nothing. It's well, that's not a person leader, but they actually sometimes if you just have a big idea and you don't do anything with it, you are nothing but a cynic or a critic. Yeah. You're really good at telling other people how dumb their ideas are, or well, if government was doing it right, they'd do this. Well, then run for office. Yeah. If you got all the answers, I would love for you to participate.
Yep.
You're just sitting over there. Okay. So vision, dreams, and ideas. Vision then is when knowledge and energy meet. Okay, that's what I'm going with. Vision is when energy and knowledge meet. Vision without knowledge is an idea. Vision without energy is a dream.
Say it one more time.
Okay, I'm gonna say this again. I'm gonna say it again. It's worth like looking at, reading, or writing down or something. So I think, in other words, to my best context at this moment in life of how to define vision, especially if we're talking about visionary leadership, vision versus reality, making something happen. Vision is when knowledge and energy meet. So vision without knowledge. So if you're like, hey, I got this idea. Was it going to work? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, okay, then it's just an idea. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to start doing something with it. Even if that something is research, like, oh no, it's not an idea. I actually want to do something. So I'm going to gain knowledge to turn this into a vision. I'm going to find out, is there a market for this? Does it exist? Is somebody else doing it? What's out there? Otherwise, it's just an idea.
Yeah.
And lots of people have ideas. That's not visionary. That's not what makes you a visionary. Having ideas, even good ideas, big dreams, that's not what vision is. That's why I think the thinking aspect, you can be a person in an organization and have big, big dreams and not be the visionary within that organization.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Vision does not equal the person who can think the biggest.
Yep.
Because sometimes you can outthink the possibilities. Like, well, you're thinking too big there.
Yeah.
If you put the right knowledge with that, you would go, kind of need to constrain my ideas. Kind of need to pull this back a little bit.
Right.
So to use the what is it, the geniuses, it's kind of, you're saying it's the W and the I, the wonder and the invention strategy kind of?
I think so. I would dare say it's if I'm going to talk about vision, I think it's an oscillation between multiple things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying? That it's not like, that's why I don't think vision is one of the 6 geniuses.
Okay.
Because galvanizing, you definitely need to use.
That's my point. So, and I would even say even something like tenacious, or tenacity, even though that's not like, we don't think of that as vision.
I see.
It's like, but if I don't have any, like if I never, that's where it's like lead by example, doing something, being a willingness to be in the trenches, if I never do that, then people may go, you're just kind of aloof. Like you're just a dreamer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like if you think we're all excited about that, you're wrong because you never have tenacity with us. Because so vision without knowledge is just an idea, but vision without energy is a dream. So if you have something, you're like, I know this will work. This would be great. And I think of just like people's personal lives. If you want to make this super specific to someone, if they're like, oh, I wish my life was different. What do you want? Well, what's your vision? What do you want for your life? Well, I'd love to make more money or maybe have this career or have this thing. All those things are possible actually, but you're not doing anything about it. You're putting no energy toward that. And therefore it is just a dream, not a vision.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are my thoughts. That's the roundabout thing. Now, I know that this is not this is like a half-baked idea. This is not the fully baked, pie that we're pulling out of the oven. But I think that there is something to vision being a combination of energy and knowledge. And when energy and knowledge meet, that's why, so if you have a big vision, so in other words, boy, that's a big vision, meaning it is a big idea and it's going to require a lot of energy. That's big vision to me. Smaller vision would be like, well, that's okay. Like, you know what my vision is? Record a podcast. A podcast? Okay, well, we did it. Like we check. Vision complete.
Right.
So I do think then you can say people have big visions if the energy and the knowledge are compatible and go up. But it's not just like the big idea, the big dream.
Yeah.
Those are separate things. Like, well, what energy are you putting toward that? And that's where I think of someone like, if we do think of people classically or historically with big visions, I think of somebody like Walt Disney or Steve Jobs, or, where it's like, wow, but they had both. It was, saying they did have big ideas. They did it, and then they put it with knowledge. Like, hey, this is, even if they didn't know it was going to work, they had the knowledge of where they wanted to go, and then they were willing to put energy toward it.
Or like, what are your gaps and how do you fill them? So like for someone like you in the place you're at right now, let's say like you have a big vision and we want the knowledge and energy in order for it to happen, right? But you may only have energy. So I think a lot of things you think about end up just becoming a dream.
Okay. Yep.
Right. So then we almost need more people in the pipeline to get more energy. So it turns from dream to actual execution.
Yeah. And if you look at it, if you think of this, because I'm thinking of it as a formula, if you think of like the accounting formula, like assets minus liabilities equals owner's equity. That's like the baseline formula for all financial accounting. Well, to me, the baseline formula for leadership, at least visionary leadership, may be that like vision equals knowledge plus energy. Because I like what you just said, because it doesn't mean that I'm doing everything. It also means that I'm a willingness to put the energy around me, the knowledge around me. So if you think of it like you just said, well, you've got a vision for something, but we don't have the right people. I don't know what we need to do, and we don't have the right people on the team. Like, so right now it's just an idea. Jared has another idea.
Yeah.
I got lots of ideas. I got, what I'm saying? Like, I'm not short on ideas. But I think then the leadership aspect is discernment to go, well, I'm not going to push that idea on the team yet. Why? Because I'm not willing to put forth the energy. I don't have the knowledge, and I'm not hiring it out. So right now, it's going to stay in idea phase.
Yeah.
When I get serious enough about it, and like, hey, team, let's talk about the vision for the next year. Oh, are we going to put knowledge and energy to that? Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just an idea. And I think that helps people, helps me discern my ideas. Like, okay, great. Have as many ideas as you want, Jared. Great. Ideate all day long. Fine. But when you convert that, then that's when it becomes part of your vision. And then the other side is like, oh, I'd love it if we would do this. Okay, are we going to put energy toward that? Energy being funds, energy being, people, energy being your own work. Are we going to put energy to that? No, then it's just a dream right now. So, my dream is to do whatever.
In our, pitting vision against realism, it sounds like you're sort of saying embedded in this idea of a clear vision actually is realism. Right?
Totally, 100%. I think to me, that's the difference in a vision versus a dream or a wish or a want. I've got all these things, but are you willing? Is there an element of reality to it? And those reality to me is this combination of energy and knowledge.
Yeah.
And when you start putting that reality to it, that's why when it spit it out, when the robot spit it out, I was like, okay, I don't think those are against each other. Vision versus reality. And if they are, it's not against each other. Like those are, polar opposites, but it's like it would be like, what do you need to become? It would almost be like dreams versus reality.
They complement.
And that complement, and vision is in the middle, saying like, if you want this dream to become a reality, have the vision. What do you mean by that? Have the correct amount of knowledge and energy, the appropriate amounts of knowledge and energy to make that dream a reality.
Yep.
There you go.
Good.
I've been visualizing this entire time.
Okay.
That's So Raven. And you know how in That's So Raven,
I do.
she clearly sees the future.
Yes.
And they call that having visions. And so this is a silly way to visualize it, but she's having visions, people that can see the future, what has already happened or will happen, they're having visions. So to me, that's something that will exist. And so it's just not in it's not in a phase of not happening. It has no energy. It's not just an idea or knowledge. It will happen. So I guess in my mind I was like, that makes sense because a vision is something that will occur.
Yeah.
Because it has the energy that backs it up.
Right. And it helps you, like I said, really this is a good testament for not just personal, but also team. But on a personal level, when you have people in your life or even yourself, you're going like, oh, I really wish we would do this. Is it an idea? Is it a dream? Or is it a vision? There is a place for all three.
Right.
But clearly distinguish those.
Yeah.
And in the workplace, there's certainly a place for all three. Is that an idea? Or is that an idea? Is that a dream? You know what? It's just an idea.
Yep.
Just an idea means I'm not putting energy toward it. I'm not saying we need to increase our knowledge in this area. Just an idea. Or it's an idea that I'm going to think about. I'm going to put some knowledge to this to see if we want it to be a part of this vision. It's a dream, but man, it aligns. So let's put some energy toward this. So that's my thoughts. Let's close out. We can make this kind of short because I just wanted to throw it out there. I think that vision is something that we talk about a lot, and there are probably multiple definitions, multiple ways to approach it. So if you're out there as a leader, it is worth thinking about. So let's just do a quick round robin. So big thoughts for the day. We had our inspiration. I was very inspired by you, Jess. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course you were.
Lim, you were also here. Ange, you were too.
You guys were here.
You guys were here. But what?
Sweater weather.
Big final thoughts on any of this vision. You can even pull back from the other episode. We kind of did two parts here on vision. Yeah. Queen Brene had some awesome stuff. Do we have a reference for that? Was that a podcast? I think you mentioned it was a podcast.
Yeah, I believe that one was it's on the Dare to Lead podcast by Brene Brown, and it's specifically titled The Hardest Feedback I've Ever Received, Part 1.
Oh, very cool. Excellent. Ooh, the hardest feedback I've ever...
It's a fantastic...
Well,
I think I've sent it to you a couple times.
I'll give that to you.
No
you
problem.
Send me a lot of stuff, all right?
I know, but you don't.
Okay, I haven't put the energy toward it.
I need to just make one
channel. I'm going to listen to all that? It's just
one
a dream.
channel for you to just... They're really good episodes.
Lim, give me your final thought.
I think the most helpful thing for me is the distinction between a vision and a dream. That vision is pie in the sky thinking that's probably a little more aimless, and vision is realistic. So I thought that was a helpful distinction.
Okay, very cool. Ange, final thoughts. Queen Brene, inspiration zone, vision, ideas, dreams. What's your final thought for the audience?
I think just when it comes to vision requires direction. And I think sometimes the higher you get up in leadership, especially as maybe younger, less experienced leaders, the higher you get up in leadership, the harder it is to let go of the doing that people see, meaning the tasks. It's hard to like let go of tasks, delegate tasks, get out of the weeds a little bit. But the more you hold on to those, the less direction you're able to provide and give yourself. And I think then you naturally scale back on vision. And so for me, I'm like thinking of your, like almost formula, like you said, where you, so you have vision equals knowledge plus energy. But I would almost like add a multiplication direction, if that makes sense.
Well,
because I think if you have those, but you don't have it being multiplied with the right direction, then you are a little more aimless. It may be a vision in a clear place, but yesterday we were going to place A, and today we're going to place B, and then tomorrow we're going to place C. But when you multiply it with the right direction, then it drives you, it continues to keep your focus in the right place.
I like that because this is very nerdy, but I'm very nerdy on this stuff because I kind of think of that as part of the knowledge piece maybe. Like, what do you mean by knowledge? It's not just having facts in front of you, but it's like, I know where we're going.
Right.
Like versus, well, is this kind of an idea or dream? Like, well, I'm not really sure yet. I'm just doing it, but this is where we're going and my team knows where we're going. So, but it might be worth, like you said, it's so valid that it's worth even throwing in there and saying like, man, you have to have a clear direction as a piece of that. So I like it. I like that. Jess, final thoughts.
I liked when you said, or you pointed it out into the perspective of how we work. So you were saying, I have lots of ideas. I have plenty of ideas, but I will withhold those until it is time for them. And I think that kind of just goes back to what we were talking in the last episode of the reality versus the vision, tenacity versus wonder. Like, there is a point in time for you to release the idea.
Yeah.
And it could be a great idea, but it's like if you don't have the energy at the end of the day to withhold it and sustain the vision itself, then we're just throwing out ideas.
Yeah.
You know? Yep. So that was my favorite part.
All right, good stuff. Hey, whatever your position is, whatever you're doing out there, vision is paramount. Like I like the Tony Robbins quote because it really does fuel your team's direction. Whether your team is your family, your team is your own company, or your team is a team of people that you're working with within any given organization, nonprofit, or charitable endeavor. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, clarify your vision, know your dreams, know your ideas, and know what you're willing to learn, grow in, and what you're willing to put energy toward. When you do that, I think that's the pathway to being a good leader. See you next time.